We have a guest now. We're very excited about. We are talking about the movie The Story of Luke, and with us now is the producer Nina Leidersdorff. You say it again for me.
Leidersdorff.
Leidersdorff. Okay.
It's a beautiful name.
Beautiful name.
And we're thrilled that you're here with us to talk about this movie. But let's start, because the vast majority of our viewers may not know about this film, and they should know about it. Tell us what the movie is about.
The Story of Luke is about an unlike hero, a young man who's on a quest to find a girl and a job and to become independent.
And the young man happens to have autism.
Yes.
Asperger's.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful film. I had the opportunity to watch it yesterday, and I was very moved by it. At one point, I was so overwhelmed with emotion that I had to stop and get up and hug my child because I was incredibly moved by so many. I'm welling up now thinking
as
about
I was as well.
Beautiful.
I saw my son so much in the future in the character of Luke. And how did you become involved in doing a film about a young man on the autism spectrum coming of age and wanting to go out into the world? How did you get involved with that?
Well, that's really Alonso Mayo, the writer-director's story. I became involved because I met him at the American Film Institute, and his mother is very involved. She has a center in Peru for kids with disabilities. So he basically, and she started that center when he was a child. So he grew up with kids with all kinds of disabilities, autism and Down syndrome and whatever, and she started that in their house. And he told me these stories, and I went with him to Lima, and we met a couple of these kids, and we followed specifically one who was working in a bank, but whose brother was getting married. He's seen this girl at the bank that he really liked, so he was trying to, he wanted to move on as well, but it wasn't as easy as it was for his brother.
Of course.
And I think that and a lot of other stories were part of what inspired us to make this story, that it was an important story to tell.
It is important. And you were saying when we were at break, how many years has this been in the making to get to this point?
It's probably been around 5-6 years.
Okay,
like
that's
that.
a long time to devote to a project, 5 to 6 years. Why is this particular story so important to you that you would give this amount of time to it?
Well, I love these kind of stories. I think it's a very important story it's not just for people or families that are dealing with autism. It's a very universal story.
Yes.
And to me, it's I love these kind of stories that goes out to everyone, but also makes you think and makes you learn something new about other people. Social conscious movies is what stories are what I really like.
Now, Nina, you said that Alonso's mother had run this home center in Peru, and so he was very familiar with individuals on the autism spectrum. You were not as familiar, but yet the film, the portrayal of Luke is so realistic. And as I said when I met you earlier and said to Lou, there were so many things I saw in Luke that I see in my son, and it was almost looking like a future picture of my son. How did you immerse yourself in the world of autism and learn about it?
Well, everything in the film you have to give credit to Alonso and to Lou, because that's
Lou, who is the lead actor. It sounds like Luke, but Lou plays Luke.
Yeah. I mean, that's their work. But I think my part has probably been the first time when I went with Alonso to Lima, to the Anne Sullivan Center, which is called. They had a big party, and there are 500 kids there. And imagine these kids just going crazy, having the best time of their life, and I was standing in the door, and I just did not know what to do with myself. And suddenly I was the one who really had no clue on how to behave. And it was kind of an interesting situation. And Alonso, who grew up with these kids, he just walked in and started dancing and talking, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? I think that instance and a couple of other things during our research, we found this book that a young man with autism had written in Britain. It's called A Guide on How to Behave to his fellow autistic friends, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, and it has all these general guidelines. It's probably a good idea not to stand too close to each other. It's probably a good idea to look each other in the eyes when you talk. These things where I was like, I gotta send this to a couple of my friends because there's some people I know that might learn and benefit from this book, although they don't have autism, but who knows, maybe we're all somewhere on the spectrum.
What I love is that it really gets into the question of what is normal.
Exactly.
And the way we judge other people from their outward behavior, and it really gets into the complexity of that question. How has this movie changed you?
Yeah. Well, I guess it has changed the my view on kids and the families that are dealing with autism. I don't know if it has changed actually. I guess it's more taught me a lot about it because I didn't know much about it before. So it just got me into the world of understanding, and also in general, I guess, appreciating people are different. But who is not from any family that can't say, oh, every family has a story.
Of course.
It's true, but I think that a lot of times autism is so misunderstood, and I think that one of the things that your film has the ability to do is to shed some light there in that corner to some people who maybe wouldn't have realized before. So I love that. And we know that the film has won a couple of awards, and you've been doing some film festivals. What's your hope for this film?
Well, of course, we hope to get it out to as many people as possible.
So a mainstream distributor?
Well, right now we have a sales agent that's working on hopefully getting us, first of all, the domestic distribution, and then he will move on to the international distribution. But for us, it's just getting it out to as big an audience as possible.
Okay, well, we have this audience that are going to want to see it.
Yes.
So what do they need to do to make that possible?
Well, right now they can go in on our Facebook page under The Story of Luke and like the page, and then they will get the news on where the film will be screening, because right now we're doing the festival round.
Right.
But we will also post as soon as we have a distributor, we will post that and make sure that everybody's informed on where they can watch the movie and where they can
And we're going to be talking with you off camera about potential screenings and for our community that at Autism Live and Act Today, the nonprofit that I'm the executive director of, about maybe some opportunities to screen the movie.
And we will keep you guys posted about all of that. But I want to thank you so much for being a driving force behind this film. I felt better for having watched it. I thought it was a lovely, lovely film, and I can't wait for us to be able to share it on a wider scale with more people. So
I have a lot of admiration for you getting this film made. You must be a powerhouse, and to stick with it and get a film of this sensitivity produced in today's climate, I think is no small accomplishment. So congratulations.
You're a powerful woman.
Thank you so
Love
much.
that.